everybody, and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Julie Moran.
And I'm Olga Villaverde. You know, it's been more than 25 years since Miss Saigon debuted on Broadway, and now this blockbuster musical is back and better than ever.
Better than ever. Stay tuned for Broadway Balances America.
Then we're going to talk about two very important health issues.
From help for those with hearing loss
to adult incontinence.
The Balancing Act starts right now.
Time now for Broadway Balances America. Today is a true Broadway blockbuster, Miss Saigon.
It's the story of a courageous young Vietnamese woman who falls in love with an American GI during the last days of the Vietnam War.
Miss Saigon has been performed in 32 countries. Wow. 15 different languages, and has won over 70 awards, including 3 Tonys.
Unbelievable. And as Amber Milt found out, the story has never been more relevant.
Thanks, ladies. This new production is grittier. It's more realistic, and with its timely subject matter, it resonates with audiences across the globe. And for the first time in 17 years, audiences across America are going to get to experience this epic love story for themselves, right from their own city. In the last days of the Vietnam War, 17-year-old Kim is forced to work in a Saigon bar run by a notorious character known as the Engineer. There, she meets and falls in love with an American GI named Chris, but inevitably, they are torn apart by the war and the ultimate fall of Saigon.
Miss Saigon follows the story of a young 17-year-old girl who's orphaned through the Vietnam War. And it follows her journey through trying to survive and trying to make it out of Vietnam as Saigon is falling and as the GIs are leaving. And along the way, she meets a GI who she falls in love with, and they have a child together. He does not know because he's pulled out of Saigon very unexpectedly. It follows her fight for survival and everything that she'll do for her child. So it's a love story between her and Chris, but also between her and her child.
I know as long as I can keep believing.
20-year-old Emily Bautista is taking on the challenging and breathtaking role of Kim in the national tour. She understudied the role during the show's Broadway revival.
Still really hasn't hit. I mean, it has, but it's also like me trying to go with the flow and go with the punches and go with everything, because it's been really incredible. And I'm just so honored to be able to now tell this story. This production really tackles the most raw and real side of the Vietnam War. We started off our rehearsal process watching documentaries, and the scenes that we saw in the documentaries were the scenes that were in this show. And it was the prostitutes and the GIs. They're not easy scenes to watch, but it does show the struggle that people went through during this war. We'll run the nightmare scene, which is the GIs leaving. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot from the whole cast to really emotionally give yourself over to that.
To celebrate the launch of the new national tour, Emily had the honor of sitting down with Lea Salonga and Eva Noblezada, who portrayed the role of Kim in the original Broadway production and the most recent Broadway revival, respectively.
Lea Salonga is someone I've looked up to my whole entire life, just in every aspect, being such a strong, independent woman that has made an amazing career for herself. And then Eva has been one of my really great friends since the Broadway production, and she's always had my back. So getting to talk to them about Kim and getting to learn from them and watch them over the years, it's just been such a blessing. They are so supportive and just have so much wisdom to share.
Kim is not the only strong female of Miss Saigon. Jackie Wynn plays one of the Dreamland dancers whose real-life story shows the delicate balance between art imitating life.
I want to make sure I do justice to the story, because this is something that actually happened, and it happened to my family. My mom was 17 when the war began. She married an American GI, and I have 3 half-brothers, and so who are a product of the war. And so this is actually direct correlation from Miss Saigon to my own family's history. And some of the scenes are very raw. What we want as actors to do is to do justice to those people, especially my family. And I want to be able to explain and to act and to be able to show more emotions and more vulnerability on stage. And our director, Lawrence Connor, has done such an amazing job of asking that from us and being fearless.
We wanted to not pull our punches. We wanted to be very clear that the narrative is a real one, and that in order to understand and to really see the journey and difficulties and hardships of these people, we need to tell it honestly.
While Kim goes on an epic journey of survival to find her way back to Chris, the American GI returns home where he marries and is left unaware of the life he left behind. Stacey Bono plays Chris's wife Ellen on the national tour. She must balance the intricacies of her relationship and future with Chris and his past with Kim.
Here's a woman that has given her life to help her husband heal from the horrors of the war, and she trusts him implicitly and loves him unconditionally, only to find out that he's been lying to her their entire relationship. And so it's a challenge to really give her the strength that she deserves, while also embodying her with warmth and compassion and understanding and forgiveness, which I think she also has.
For life until we die.
The two women express their heartache against the backdrop of one of Broadway's most beautiful, award-winning scores.
For Ellen, I still believe we find her struggling with her husband's recurring nightmares, what we now know to be PTSD from the Vietnam War. But through the song, she expresses her hope and belief that he will heal from this and they will be able to have a happy, healthy marriage with nothing in between them.
This brilliant new production magnifies the power and epic nature of Bublé and Schoenberg's tremendous score, and it features the original dazzling choreography by Bob Avian. Director Lawrence Connor promises the most iconic scenes will astound audiences.
When you go to see Miss Saigon, you are taken on a journey. It's like opening a window and watching other people's lives, and it's because it's real, because it's honest, because you see a helicopter and you see things that you wouldn't ordinarily see in musicals. It's powerful, and I think that's the secret to the success, because you can't tell this story unless you are an incredible actor, an incredible singer, and I think it deserves every accolade that it's ever received.
Miss Saigon continues to be an audience favorite, and the new touring production will carry its legacy across America, honoring the spirit of the Broadway blockbuster musical.
And actually seeing a show of that scale on the road, like a true Broadway show in all of its glory, coming to your city, coming near you, is just one of those things that you can't miss.
We have done so much work in trying to make it as authentic and as real. We've added lots of Vietnamese words, lots of Vietnamese traditions, and we're really hoping that we can spread authenticity around the United States. And I hope that audiences come and they get to experience that, especially those who are Asian American.
This production is going to be absolutely spectacular in terms of visuals and effects, and the famous helicopter is going to be there. And I hope they're moved by this story and by these compelling performances. And if that movement inspires a little more tolerance for other people or more compassion for other people, I think that would be a beautiful thing.
Come see the show and get ready for it'll take you on an emotional roller coaster. It's a beautiful story that shows that there is love in the most broken of places, and there is hope and there's joy, and as well as hardships. But I think it's a very important story that a lot of people should see.
The North American tour of Miss Saigon is coming soon to a theater near you. Check out Broadway across America, or you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com, for all the show information, tour dates, and more. For behind-the-scenes access to Anastasia, Andrew Lloyd Webber's School of Rock, Come From Away, Miss Saigon, Cats, go backstage with Broadway Balances America. Get an inside look at your favorite shows before they come to a city near you.
It's estimated that a quarter to a third of men and women of all ages here in the U.S. suffer from urinary incontinence. It's right. That means millions of Americans, everyone from moms to athletes, who knows how many. And there are many reasons why folks are incontinent. So knowing you're protected when it comes to your hygiene products can provide great peace of mind. Joining us today for a very frank discussion from First Quality Enterprise are Sima de la Fras, Global Sales and Marketing Leader, and Michelle Mangillo, their Global Clinical Director. Welcome to both of you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, so Michelle, let me start with you. You are a nurse, a clinician. So can you kind of define urinary incontinence in simple terms, and I think most people know, and some misconceptions as well?
Yeah, so urinary incontinence is simply the leakage of urine. The person has no control. And oftentimes the person doesn't seek out help. Some people will wait up to a year before they even talk to a physician about it. So it can be a very emotional, psychological issue as well as a health issue.
Can you imagine? Because of the embarrassment and all
Right,
that.
very embarrassing.
Sima, it's important to find the right protective hygiene. Talk to me about the company and the Prevail products as well.
Absolutely. We're a family-owned company by 3 generations, and actually this month we're celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Fantastic.
And we are all about education. That's been our model. Educated consumer is the right consumer. And we have a full line of incontinent products. We're actually the #1 incontinent market shareholder, both in retail and healthcare. And as you can see, we've got anything from a light liner to a protective underwear, which is both for male and female, as well as a full-on brief and wipes and anything that has to do with incontinence. We have a full line of incontinence products.
And you mentioned the word education. You literally wrote the book on it. Tell me about this.
Yes, we did. So we wrote a book, Prevailing with Incontinence Management, and it really is a nurse's guide and primarily for nursing students. So we've enjoyed a long partnership with the University of North Carolina School of Nursing. Yeah, so
Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill, correct. So we use this book at the university to help educate some of their students about the topic.
I'm sure it's been very helpful.
And we're going to be launching the second one this year for caregivers.
Oh, that's
so caregivers
fantastic.
at home will be able to be educated on which product fits best for their loved ones.
And I'm going to continue on the education because I like the fact that you have a 24-hour e-nurse service. Tell us a little bit about that because that's great for people to be able to call in.
Yes, we have a full staff of nurses available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to be able to answer any questions you have because at the end of the day, this is still an embarrassing product and people want to be able to talk in their privacy and to ask questions that they want so they can either chat online or be able to talk to someone.
And it's anonymous as well.
Absolutely.
Which is great. You can ask all you want and get all the information you need.
Yeah, it's a very private topic.
Right. And speaking of private, something I'm going to bring up now is I tend to see a lot of people I've heard where instead of using the Prevail products, they'll use feminine hygiene products. Obviously women. That's a no-no, right?
Right. It's a very common practice, and I think it's because women are very comfortable buying a feminine hygiene product, but they're not comfortable buying an incontinence product. So oftentimes they'll use the feminine hygiene product, and it's 2 different fluids, it's 2 different
Doesn't
things.
work the same.
It doesn't work the same, and the products are designed very differently.
And again, you make some that are liners, which is great.
Yes, thin liners, so they can use that, but it's just an embarrassment. You think of incontinence, you think of older people, where it should be just like an everyday, you brush your teeth, you use deodorant, you should be able to feel comfortable to be using a liner.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that we could be talking about this in 2020. I just think it's fantastic. For our viewers who'd love to learn more, ladies, where can they go?
They could go to Prevail.com or visit any of our social media on Facebook or Instagram.
All right, and since you're the clinician, I am going to ask you one last question. I've heard that doing Kegel exercises is very helpful.
It's very helpful.
Yeah?
It's very easy to do. Yeah, I recommend to people while you're driving, do it at every stoplight or every stop sign, and they're so easy.
It could actually slow down that urinary incontinence or even kind of maybe even prevent it a little bit.
It strengthens those muscles.
There you go. So let's do our Kegel exercises every day. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. I'm doing them right now. And for more information, visit our website. I hope you're doing them too, thebalancingact.com. being able to hear is one of our most important senses, yet for many, being able to hear clearly can be such a struggle. According to the National Institute of Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, approximately 28.8 million adults in the U.S. could benefit from wearing hearing aids. And why not? Here to help us today with a lot of the common questions about hearing aids and to guide us in selecting the right one and affordable is David Goldwater from Advanced Affordable Hearing. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Olga.
All right, so I know Advanced Affordable Hearing has been helping people for decades. Tell us a little bit about the background before we talk about this great new concept.
Sure. Well, the company started in 1988, but it was in 1996, 24 years ago, that we started actually making hearing aids affordable to the masses. We've helped tens of thousands of people regain some of the hearing that they've lost, and it really is a life changer. It turns people around.
It really does. I mean, overnight it does it. And what are some of the misconceptions, David, would you say, when it comes to hearing aids? Besides people saying, you know, it's a stigma, it's embarrassing. Please.
Well, I think that is certainly one of the things, is the stigma of wearing a hearing aid. However, there's also the idea that I can wait, I can hold off. There's actually medical links. We've known for many years that there is a link between untreated hearing loss and dementia. And so treating the hearing loss early is something that can help to slow it down or stave off dementia.
All right, there are many advances when it comes to hearing aids. Let's talk about yours, and I'm going to get one right here. Tell me some of the advances that people don't know about.
Well, I think the biggest advance in this particular model is that it has an actual digital signal processor that gives crystal clear sound in the high pitches, which is the most common type of age-related hearing loss. Secondly, it's a rechargeable model, so people don't have to fumble around and buy those little batteries. There's also the environmental concerns. Throwing away all those little batteries adds up.
Okay.
The small size of this is something that really does.
But even so, even you're showing us with your short hair, and I mean, from this vantage point, I don't see anything. Turn to your left for me. Look at that. That's fine. I've seen people wearing these things coming out of their ears now, the technology, Bluetooth stuff.
Right.
That's just, it's ugly.
Right.
And if you can wear that, you can certainly wear that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Here's a question. If, let's say, my mom is having issues with the left ear, but not the right ear, does she get one, or is it better to put both?
Unless you have complete deafness in one ear, it's important to get two. Your brain is expecting balance and stereo sound for directionality as well as clarity. And so it's very important to wear a hearing aid for each ear.
And let's talk about cost, because I know way back when, thousands of dollars. Now,
That's
I
right.
think it's a few hundred?
That's right. That's one of the biggest myths about hearing aids, is that it's going to cost thousands of dollars to get a good hearing aid. This particular set, this is called the Hear Clear Go. This is a model that we have been selling for $399 for the pair.
Oh my gosh.
So there's not much reason not to get help.
That's fantastic. Hear, clear, and go.
That's it.
Tell me, in terms of feedback from people, just how it just changes their lives.
I think the biggest thing is that people are surprised, pleasantly so, that they can actually have conversations with their grandchildren, with their spouse, that they can turn that TV down. They can hear people in church. They can hear people at their table in a restaurant.
So if someone is watching this right now and they're saying, goodness, my parents could benefit from this, I could benefit from this, I guess what's protocol? Should you get a hearing test first?
It's always a good idea to get a hearing test first and get a copy of it. If we can eliminate the doubt, we can help people get the right hearing aid in the line. We actually sell 9 different hearing aids because not all hearing loss is the same.
Exactly, and look for a great company like yours.
Yes, somebody who's been around a while, that has staff available for support and is eager, willing, and able to provide it. I think those are all things that are extremely important.
And don't be embarrassed, right?
That's right. Don't be embarrassed. Nobody knows but you. And family wants you to be engaged. And so I think anyone who can regain that part of their lives is going to really benefit.
Fantastic. For our viewers who'd like more information, David, where do they go?
Go to hearcleargo.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I really
you, Olga.
appreciate it, sir. I'll be using this maybe in about, hopefully 25, 30 years.
Very good.
And if you'd like more information on this hearing aid, just go to our website. That's thebalancingact.com.
You know, I absolutely loved when I saw it on Broadway, Miss Saigon.
I haven't
It's just
seen it.
a spectacle.
I have to
You've
go
got
see it.
It's really good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
All right, remember to head to our Facebook page and our website and follow us on Twitter.
That's right, our Instagram @JulieandOlga.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. So long.